Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Sarvamangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike. Sharanye Trambake Devi Narayani Namostute. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samstita. Namastasya, 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 Namo Namaha. Om Aim Reem Klim Chamundai Viche Swaha. Durga Durga Rakshini Tha Tha Swaha. Om Shri Hanuman Ji Maharaj Ki Jai. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 7th of February 2026. I want to offer my prostrations to all the great sages and to the Supreme Lord Bhagavan residing in the heart of every single being at all times. We are continuing to better understand the Shanta Rati, Shantaras, and to do so we have gone into the Bhagavatam, verse number 23, chapter 3 of Canto 4, 4.3.23. We were talking about this yesterday, and I want to go into it a bit further, and also want to be very clear about the three gunas of Maya. This word Maya is used again and again and again in Sanatan Dharma. People use it in the colloquial language. There's this notion that people are Maya, children are Maya, money is Maya, things like that. None of that is Maya. None of that is Maya. So Maya is, what is it exactly, right? This is another interesting question. When we use the word Maya, what are we talking about? Many descriptions, many ways acharyas and teachers have talked about this, from time to time. They have tried to express their realization of the ultimate reality, Brahman, Bhagavan, in ways that we can relate to in terms of our day-to-day life, day-to-day existence. We know from our day-to-day existence that there is usually quite a bit of agitation and disturbance psychologically, internally. There's a lot of activity going on, right? So human beings are not in a state of sustained silence or sustained harmony. We have periods of that, but it doesn't remain. And the reason behind it are these three gunas of Maya. The three gunas of Maya are Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. So the three gunas of Maya are what's causing our Jivatma, the Jiva Tattva, to be bound inside the sansar, inside the material existence. It is rolling around inside the material existence. Now, the basic question is, why is that so? Why is that happening? What is the reason behind that? Right? So that's an interesting question, and there are many different kinds of answers. Many, many, many different kinds of answers. But the major answer, or the one big answer to that, is that the Jivatma has been eternally in the power of Bhagavan. It is a power of God. Maya is a power, one of the powers of Paramatma. Now you can ask the question, why does it exist? Why do we exist? Why does God exist? Why does anything exist? There's no answer to that question. It's not a why question. Existence is just existence. Astitva. So we exist. Right now we exist. And the Jiv Tattva that we are, the Atma Tattva, is eternal. That Atma Tattva is Sat Chit Ananda. It is divine. It is a part of Bhagavan's body from Vishishtadvait point of view. but it is covered by Maya. And this is the whole point, that the covering from Maya or of Maya, why it is there, when did it happen, what is the reason for that, nobody has any explanation, really. No explanation will ever be adequate, because explanation is also within Maya. So the answer, quote, answer to the question of Maya is to be released from Maya. Then the question disappears. When we are released from Maya, the question disappears. It's like asking, why is there darkness? Why does darkness exist at 2 a.m. in the morning? I mean, does it exist really? Is there something like darkness? We can call it, because we cannot see anything without light. We say pitch dark. There's darkness and then there's pitch dark. There's no light at all. This is an analogy. So, when the sun comes up, when the sunlight is present, does darkness have any existence? It doesn't have any existence. In fact, as we go closer to the sun, the closer and closer somebody goes to the sun, and let's say theoretically you go inside the sun, there's no concept of darkness. There's no concept of day and night. Isn't it so? There's only singularly prakash. Surya Narayan ka prakash. There's nothing else is there. It's just all light and energy. Divya prakash, divya shakti. In the same way, similarly, when Brahman is realized, or let's say Bhagavan ki jo murti hai, Bhagvat Tattva, when Paramatma is realized, seen, not seen with these eyes in that sense, Anubhav, spiritual Anubhav mein, Bhagavan aate hai, you can see God by His grace. When a glimpse of the Lord, of the Supreme Being, is seen, is in the Anubhav, the entire concept of Maya disappears. It completely disappears. It's like when the sun is shining bright, what darkness? There's no concept of darkness. It's when we turn away from the sun that earth revolves. Earth is spinning and it turns away from the sun. It doesn't look at the sun anymore. Then there is darkness. Pitch dark at night. These are two words in Sanskrit, probably I think they're in Gujarati actually, maybe in Sanskrit also, we'll have to check and see. Sanmukh and Vimukh. Sanmukh, mukh means face, you're facing towards God. And Vimukh means facing away from God. So when we're facing away from Paramatma, then we are within the inferior energy of Bhagavan Krishna. This is as per Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji's Tattvagnan, Achinta Bheda Bhed. Facing away from Paramatma. Then there is, the individual ahankar, the panch vishayas, shabda sparsh rupa rasgandha, the body, physical body. So many things are present. Rajas, tamas, all of the qualities of Maya are present when we face away from Paramatma. Bhagavan Krishna is beyond the three gunas of Maya. Sattva, Raj and Tam is beyond. God is only one. You can call any name you want. That doesn't matter. Why are the three gunas of Maya are there? Why are they there? They are manifested for each Jivatma by Paramatma using Shakti to give experience. Experience of what? Experience of the material world. Well, why? Why should the Jivatma gain experience of the material world? Why is that? ये सब तत्वज्ञान की थोड़ी बात है. I wanted to talk about this a bit. We sometimes don't talk too much about तत्वज्ञान, but these common questions come about, and I want to try to address them to the best of my ability in the time we have. Why is there Maya? Why is there this world? Why isn't there just enlightenment? That's all. Well, that is because the Jivatma is within that power of Maya. That's the only answer. Why? So, as per Vishishtadvait and Vachanamrutam, the Jivatma has eternally in the past been in Maya. It wasn't that the Jivatma came into Maya at some point. This is as per Vishishtadvait, thodi tatvik baat hai. So think of it this way, Bhagwan, just make a line, like a horizontal line. Above that line is Akshardham, Bhagwan ka dham, Golok dham, Akshardham, Bhagavad dham. Paramatma hai, waha. And below that line are infinite number of Jivatma. They are not like physical, we cannot see that way, it's realization. They're like monadical souls, S-O-U-L. Each one is Sat Chit Ananda. They are made of the same substance as Paramatma. Bhagwan is also Sat Chit Ananda. Bhagwan ka dham bhi Sat Chit Ananda. Chinmay dham. Chintamani dham. Like this. This is all like this. And under Maya, the infinite Jivatma are there. And this is the barrier of Mahamaya. So beyond Mahamaya is Brahman. Brahma para Brahma is sab adhyatmik tattva hai. Underneath Mahamaya, billions, infinite number of universes. Brahmand, galaxies. How many Jivatma are there? Infinite. Ananta Jivatma. And this entire structure of all of the universes, infinite number of Brahmand, infinite Brahma, Vishnu, Shiv. It's very deep ontological Tattvagnan. Depending on the sampradaya, depending on which sampradaya, it is classified in different ways, but the reality is only one. That's a very intricate and very difficult subject. I won't go into that. I'm trying to make it simple. That underneath Mahamaya, infinite Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva are there. And they're Ishwaras. There's other Ishwaras also, Pradhan Purush and Virat Purush and Virat Narayan. There's so many Ishwaras are there. They are all Sarvagna. They're one above another. They're all the way up to Mool Prakriti, up to Mahamaya and Mool Purush. Prakriti Purush, isko kehte hain. And underneath the Prakriti Purush, underneath Prakriti, let's say, everything that is in the womb of Maya is expressed. So the Jivatma are infinite in number. They're dormant within Mahamaya. Shushupta. Not Shushupti Avastha, Shushupta. They don't have any Anubhav. Koi Anubhav nahi hai. That is a barrier. Now somebody will ask this question. This question is asked in Vachanamrut also. If Bhagwan exists, why doesn't he or she or whatever it is, that Tattva, Paramatma, simply take all these Jivatma and take them out of Maya? Why create all this thing? It's a question maybe many of you have had. What's the point? Bhagwan is Karuna Sindhu, all knowing, all doing, can do everything. Then what is the point of creating all these universes and all this thing and giving these bodies and all that thing? Why do all that? God has nothing else better to do. Why not simply take each Jivatma, infinite, and just absorb them inside? Is it possible? Can Paramatma do that? Yes, of course. Definitely. As I mentioned before, there is a power of God as per Shastras called Anyatha Kartum Shakti. You can do Sarvatantra Samartha, kuch bhi kar sakte. Wo kar sakte. But that would be by force, and that would also diminish, or it would prevent the free acceptance of the Jivatma of Paramatma. It would be by force. And that's why that doesn't happen. The Jivatma has to accept Paramatma by its own free will. And to do that, to be in connected with Bhagavan, and it's all of this creation is there. This is one answer to this question. Another answer to this question is that the Jivatma, it has been in Maya from time immemorial, Anadikal, as per Vachanamrut. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ji has just a little another way to talk about this, that the Jivatma is like a part and parcel of Sri Krishna, but somehow wanted to experience Maya. There's some reasonings that the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara gives. I won't go into that right now. But they give there's some different perspectives on how the Jivatma comes into Maya, or is expressed this way, in terms of the creation. The different acharyas have given their own perspectives, interpretations on what is Jivatma, what is its connection to Paramatma, what is Maya. So Shankaracharya ji, Vallabhacharya ji, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Bhagwan Swami Narayan, ye jo sab hai, they have all given their own perspectives. Madhvacharya ji, each one of them has their own tattvic perspective on what is Maya, Mahamaya. So I'm not going to go into that here at this point. But from where we are, we have a common question. Why doesn't God just end all the pain and suffering and problems, and why create anything? Right? These are common questions. So those questions cannot be answered satisfactorily using our intellect. The reason is that those questions are referring to phenomena or dimension, tattva, that is beyond the intellect. So how that is possible, that the question is asking about something beyond the intellect that the mind cannot grasp? How can we understand that? We cannot understand that. That is why Shraddha and Bhakti are necessary. And if it is Divya Ichha, Bhagavan ki Ichha, God's desire, just by Krupa, by grace, that understanding, wisdom comes about this entire Tattva Gnan. Jeev, Ishwar, Maya, Brahma, Parabrahm, ye sab Tattva Darshan ho sakta hai. But from where we are, it's good enough to simply say that, hey Prabhu, my life experiences are present, and what is the nature of those experiences? Am I getting stuck in them? Am I getting trapped in them? What is happening inside of me? Can I come out of it in a better way? If we keep our attention on our own development and study scriptures, do bhakti, that's good enough. Guru Parampara, respect all saints, good enough. Tattva Gnan ki baat, very difficult baat hai. What is Rajogun? What is Tamogun? How it comes about? These are very intricate subjects. We would need days and days and days to go into them. But in simple language, we have touched upon those things from time to time. But from experience point of view, Anubhav point of view, we can definitely see. Do we not go to sleep at night time, for example? And then there's a point where there is no experience, deep sleep, Shushupti Avastha. Isn't that Anubhav? Now, be vichar kijiye, as bhakti increases, as devotion increases, as peace of mind increases, and energy damage stops, energy disturbance stops. If that actually happens, then at night time there is yoga nidra, just for rest, and there is awakening, jagruti. There's awakening, spiritual awakening at night time. Yes, definitely. But that will not happen as long as there is the influence of Rajas and Tamas. Rajas is impurity, dust. It's a clouding of clear vision. But it is also a principle of dynamism. Look at the people in the world today. They want sense experiences, Rajasic experiences. Running in different directions for those experiences. And those experiences are real. We cannot deny experience, whether it is Sattvic, Rajasic or Tamasic. This is what we know. This is our Anubhav. Sattva gun, Rajogun, Tamogun. That Vishuddha Sattvam that we were talking about before, that doesn't come about in people's lives like that. That is beyond the ordinary Sattva gun even. So that is through devotion. But from human level point of view, this is what is our Anubhav. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. And mostly Rajogun and Tamogun. Most of that is there. Why? It is there because that is what gives the experience to the Jivatma. The Jivatma is given that experience because it wants those experiences. Those experiences are the manifestation of the original beginningless engulfment into Mahamaya. Wo tatvik baat hai. It is difficult to understand that. If somebody wants to know, ask me about it, and I'll send you some recordings on it. I think maybe there are some. It's very difficult to grasp what that is. Beginningless engulfment in Mahamaya. This is as per Vachanamrut and Vishishtadvaita philosophy. Advaita Vedanta has a little different perspective, but it still talks about Jivatma is there. It is beginningless within Maya. That point is common almost everywhere. And it is a great mystery. So when we are wanting the Rajasic experience, we have all gone through that. Every human being goes through that and will go through that. You want that. You want that particular type of experience. Some food item, some clothing, some relationship experience, some this, some that, whatever. Life is all experience, sab anubhave. We want those experiences. And then those experiences can be obtained if and when opportunity presents itself, body can handle them, there's ways to get those experiences. And then what happens? There is an experience of Rajas, there's experience, and that experience is limited. And then the human person jumps to another experience, another. And this is our human life. Just to think, for example, a teenager goes to school, then gets into college, and then says, I want to go to college. Why? So I can get a great job. I want to get a great job or have a business. Why? So I can make a lot of money. And why do I want a lot of money? So that I can have a big home and big cars and this and that. And then I can get married and be wealthy. But why do you want to be wealthy? So I can have a nice family. Or why do you want to have a nice family? So that I can be happy, so that I can enjoy, I can have the experiences of this world. Yes, this is Rajogun. This is Sansar. Okay, now why do you want those experiences of Rajogun? Because they are real. Those experiences, I want those experiences. Then continue in that. That's the way it goes, right? There's no criticism of that. That's the way it goes. And then the husband and wife, let's say they have children, then the cycle starts again. And it continues. And then the body becomes old, and then the body dies away, and then the causal body is still there, chasing after all these things, and rebirth upon rebirth. This is what the situation is in the Brahmand. It can go up and it can go down into the Svarga Lokas, into the lower Lokas. This Jivatma can get experiences in so many different ways, depending on its karma, its punyam, its sthiti. But if the destination is beyond Sattva Gun, If that's the destination, as we have been talking about, Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam Yat Iyate Tatra Puman Apavrutaha Sattve Cha Tasmin Bhagavan Vasudevaha Hi Adhoksha Jaha Me Namasa Vidhiyate. Right? This is the verse we were looking at yesterday. If that is a destination, to perceive that Supreme Person, Iyate Tatra Puman, want to actually see Paramatma, that's a different matter. And that is where our morning satsang here is an attempt for that purpose, is to have realization, Bhagavat Sakshatkar, Bhagavan ka Sakshatkar. That is its purpose. And is it possible while we're living in this world? Yes. But we must see the limitations of Rajas and Tamas. That is our first priority, to see that these things are limited. They're not rejected also. They're there. You have food items are there, clothing is there, trips are there, just like anybody else. But there is a living above Rajas by going into it to some extent, but not losing time, energy, buddhi nashat pranashyati. Those problems should not happen. That awakening has to be there. That awakening can be there. That awakening can be there. And that is what is meant here. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva. Right? So the Vishuddha means absolutely purified mind beyond Sattva Gun. And such a mind, such a state of consciousness is completely transparent. That is Vasudev. And Vasudev is the Paramatma, the Lord within that extraordinary consciousness. Bhagavan manifests where there is the fit residence. Pavitra man, Shant man, Divya man. Bhagavan ka darshan hota hai in such a mind. When the mind is filled with contaminants, God is always present, but we cannot perceive that Paramatma. It is something like that. So there's a lot that we can say, but for today, these three gunas of Maya, we should be very clear what they are. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Tamas is inertia, deep sleep state. Rajas is a lot of activity and, that is a passion, mode of passion. Yes, stimulative experiences. Fancy cars, big homes, whatever, Fancy trips, luxury items, first class tickets. Right? Wow, and people are like fascinated by that. First class passengers, boarding, you have American Airlines welcomes first class passengers. This is the hierarchy in the world. Everywhere it is like that. You can go to a Dollar Tree store and buy items. You can also go to the extremely high class stores and buy other items. And there's a whole range of the quality. And the entire humanity is trapped in this. Total bandhan hai isme. Isme se nikal hi nahi sakte koi. Cannot get out of that at all unless they have satsang. Chasing continuously higher quality experience. Yes. Private jets. Wanting private jets. Think about that. Big homes, mansions, lots of friends. Shariram surupam sadaroga muktam yashacharu chitram dhanameru tulyam gururandri padne manashena lagnam tatah kim tatah kim tatah kim tatah kim. Adi Shankaracharya ji ka shlok hai ye. Shariram surupam sadaroga muktam. Imagine, visualize a body, human body, which is absolutely perfect, beautiful. surupam, shariram surupam, sada roga muktam. Continuously free from all diseases, incapable of getting disease. Such a body. Dhana meru tulyam, Meru Parvat, more is bigger than Himalaya and all. It's considered to be transcendental mountain. Apar Aishwarya, tremendous amount of wealth. Shariram surupam sada roga muktam dhana meru tulyam yasha charu chitram. Yash, kirti. Millions of people are looking up to you and bowing down or looking, whatever, they're praising and all that. Lot of yash. Yasha charu chitram. Guru Randri Padne Manashena Lagnam. Even after having all this, which hardly anybody ever has that, but assume for a moment somebody has that. But if the mind is not connected to the enlightened state that the Sadgurus have, Guru Randri Padne Manashena Lagnam. Lagni. Bhagwan or Bhagwan ke Sant ke saath jo lagni nahi lagi. If you don't have that connection with Paramatma and enlightened saints, Adi Shankaracharya ji says, Tatah kim, Tatah kim, Tatah kim, Tatah kim. What has that person done? Has done nothing. That person will drown into the material world unless there is continuous connection and lagni. No, see, Guru Randri Padne, Manashe na lagnam. Guru Randri Padne means that the feet of God. It's not the literal feet. I mean, feet is there, but it's the teachings and understanding and tattva that is Bhagwan and Bhagwan ke jo bhakta hai, sant hai, unke saath jo connection hona chahiye. If that is not there and all these other things are there, Shariram Surupam Sada Roga Muktam Yasha Charu Chitram Dhanu Meru Tulyam Guru Randri Padne Manashena Lagnam. Even if all that is there, all that thing is there, meaningless. The body will go away. The vasanas will keep increasing. Even if such a sthiti is there, person will drown straight into the Lakchaurashi, 8.4 million species of reincarnation. Yes, Srimad Bhagavatam categorizes them. 8.4 million. Chaurashi lakh. Shvedaj, Andaj, Jarayu. And there's one more. It has these 4 classifications. Different species. जैसी हमारी मनोवृत्ति है वैसी प्राप्ति होती है. So Bhagwan is beyond the 3 gunas of Maya. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. That Vishuddha Sattva इसमें प्रवेश होना चाहिए. What kind of life is that? It is a life of continuous joy. भगवान का आनंद continuous मिलता है इसमें. It's unbroken joy. Unbroken. Ananda is unbroken. It is unbroken because the Rajogun, Tamogun are no longer active. Not only are they not active, they have been transcended. They have been seen through. It's like seeing through that this is meaningless. They are energy drainers, time drainers. They do not give what we're looking for, which is Ananda. They will bind the individual into those limited experiences and thrash the Jivatma into all kinds of trouble. Because that is the ahankar, that is the engulfment in Mahamaya. So Jivatma has to freely relinquish the attachment to the 3 gunas of Maya. And from that free relinquishment, accept Sharanam, Sri Krishna, Sharanam Mama, Sharanagati, Bhagwan ki Sharanagati, to accept Paramatma and to take the shelter of God voluntarily, freely, through Guru Parampara, through scriptures, etc. Then, this state, Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam Yat Iyate is revealed. There's the revelation. This revelation is what? It is the revelation of that Puman, that is that Paramatma. Iyate tatra Puman. Actual revelation hota hai Bhagwan ka. But this madness of the Rajogun, Tamogun, it's not terrible baat hai. Because mind has a lot of power and Shakti inside. It has a lot of mechanism inside. It has to be cleaned up, purified, stabilized, harmonized. That's the work we have to do. And that is Navda Bhakti, Bhagwan ke mandir, Bhagwan ki jo sab satsang hai, mantra hai, stotra, scriptures, everything related to Paramatma. Sanatan Dharma is vast. Everything is available for us. Everything that is related to Bhagwan, if we get absorbed in that through whichever paths we're going through, then that will take us forward. That will take us forward. Because this Rajogun, Tamogun, particularly Rajogun, is such, it will thrash the individual again and again and again. Because person is chasing those experiences. Rather than chasing those experiences, acknowledge them for what they are. Recognize them for what they are. But they are very compelling. Rajasik Anubhav is very compelling. And there's the I that wants that experience. And so that I that wants that experience is transformed in bhakti. The experience may be there, but it's a limited, time-bound, and usually binding experience. But it is an experience, no doubt. It is a unique experience in its own right. If you go to a Mercedes dealership and buy a $100,000 car and you bring it home and you paid it off, wo anubhav nahi hai? Isn't that a different experience than buying a $20,000 car? Of course there is. The experience, the quality is different. The experience is different. Isn't it so? Every experience in the material world has its own charm. And to see through that is Brahma Vidya. To be trapped in that is to be engulfed in Mahamaya again and again and again and again. And that is a choice. When we get satsang in life, then we have a choice. Do we want to remain engulfed in Mahamaya, keep chasing these experiences? We're not rejecting them, but just chasing them. Or whatever is available is good enough, is fine, whatever it is. But to be connected with Paramatma, where the real Ananda is there. These things are just coming and going, revolving in a circle. And they get saturated. Tolerance effect, they get, you get tired of it. It becomes old very quickly. So Bhagavan ka jo anubhav hai, that doesn't become old. That's why this Vishuddham, this Vishuddham, Sattvam Vishuddham is that uncontaminated state. Contaminants are gone. And then there's a moment to moment to moment to moment Ananda. It doesn't diminish at all. Aisi sab sthiti hai. Let's stop here for now. We'll go into this now further tomorrow, into other rasas and all that. But just wanted to make sure today that the three gunas of Maya, what they are, where are we with relation to that, and how that relates to the Sattvam, Vishuddham, Vasudeva. These three words are there in the first shloka, in this shloka here. So I wanted to cover the three gunas of Maya also, and that's all. So when we are worshipping Bhagwan is beyond senses, and we worship. Me namasa vidhiyate. Me namasa. Namasa means to namaskar karna. Obeisance. Prostrations, obeisance, Bhagwan ko. Then that's bhakti. That is how bhakti increases. Right, so let's stop here for now, and we'll continue tomorrow. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvadam Aim Rim Klim Chamandai Viche Svaha. Om Namo Narayanaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Shri Radha Krishnaya Namo Namaha.